Hello, I'm Rick Joyner, and this is another prophetic perspective on current events. And you know, there's so much happening, so much we feel like we need to address. It's hard to narrow down, but we believe Christians should be the best informed and have the best insight and answers to the current events that are going on today, that are happening. We're supposed to be the light of the world. We're supposed to be following the King of Kings, the one who is wisdom himself. And we should understand what is going on in the world better than anyone else, so that we can be a light to the darkness and a light in the times. But one of the things that light does also is it exposes the darkness. It makes manifest. And says in Psalms 97, his lightnings lit up the world. And you know, if you've been in a lightning storm, you know, in the dark, you know, at night, a flash of lightning comes, you see everything you couldn't see before. And I believe that's the way revelation from God is. It is exposing, it is illuminating. And one of the things I've been doing for several months now is praying for the Spirit of truth to come upon our nation, to come upon our government, and that there would be lightning, illumination that makes manifest everything that's hiding in the darkness. And I think that prayer is being answered. I know hopefully there are many others praying that prayer. And one of the main things, if you hear anything today, I ask you to pray for the Spirit of truth to come upon our nation, to expose all lies, to expose darkness, to expose things that are hidden that we could trip over, you know, just everything like that. Pray for the Spirit of truth. Ask for the Holy Spirit to come. Now, the Holy Spirit does come to expose and lead us into all truth. Spirit of truth has come to do that, but we need to keep in mind too that truth is a person that we follow. Truth is Jesus. He is the answer to every human problem. He is the answer. And it's not that he has the answers, he is the answers. He is the answer. It's the King of Kings. It's the Lord. He made the earth. As we see in John 1, Colossians 3, other places, the world, or Colossians 1, the world was made through him and for him, and in him all things hold together. So it doesn't work without him. And it is truth, you know, where Paul said, in him we live and move and have our being. He is everything. None of us could breathe another breath without him. Every breath is the grace of God. Every heathen that doesn't believe in him, that even curses him, could not take their next breath without him. He is everything. So it's not just, you know, what we want to do is not just expose things that are wrong or all that. That has to be done, but we also need to point to the answer. And it really is Jesus. That is not simplicity, but there is a simplicity of devotion to him that we don't want to ever be beguiled from. That Jesus really is himself the answer. And it's reconciling men with God. That we would walk with God again. That we would be in harmony with him, would be reconciled. And it begins with redemption. It begins with the cross and the atonement. These are the times. And you know, as there is increasing confusion, disorientation, and we're seeing it politically in every other area, it is the greatest opportunity for the gospel. And we don't want to ever forget that Jesus is the answer. Now, I do believe, you know, that our nation is going to turn back to God. We have asked him to leave just about everything. We didn't want a mention of him in our public places, want the Ten Commandments removed, all mention of God, and that pressure's still on, but look at the results. Go back and mark, you know, the fall of our nation since we asked for prayer to be removed from schools. Just the simple turning to God every day in prayer and asking for his grace. The grace gets removed. Look what's happening. And so, you know, there will be a turn back. We need to keep in mind and keep the hope that the greatest revivals in history all came during the darkest of times. During the worst of times, God will make manifest. Jesus himself came during the days of Herod, it says. Herod was not very good government. Paul preached during the times of Nero. And so, we should have hope, we should excitement, encouragement. With all the things coming on, we need to address them, and we want to address them. Looks like the Holy Spirit is doing his own job, making things manifest. But while he's doing that, let's let him use us also to be the bold, confident witnesses that we're supposed to be. Now, one of the things that also wanted to address, in this special prophetic perspectives was the accusation that the congressman who yelled out during President Obama's speech during the joint session a few nights ago, that he yelled out, "You lie," to the president. And, that was out of order. He admitted it. He apologized to the president. And the president quickly forgave him, to his credit. He just, that's okay, I forgive you. And certainly appreciate that grace. And then it was brought up this week that former President Carter made the accusation that that was a spoken racism, and that basically racism still pervades, the nation. That is an error. That is wrong. That is not true, and I don't believe it's the spirit of truth. And I appreciate the way much of the media reacted to that and just said, not true. Now, I believe most of the nation by far was very, very proud of our nation for electing an African American or mixed African American to the highest office. And I believe all over the South there was rejoicing. Now, I rejoiced. I didn't vote for him because of his stand on social issues. I was very sorry I could not vote for our first black president. And but I still, and as I wrote about and as I've said, I was so appreciative of living in a country that would do that, would vote for a president that is from a minority of only 12% of the population, maybe 14%, but a very small part. It could attain the highest office in the land. That is something we all should be very proud of, very thankful for. There's a good pride, and that's it. I am proud of my country for doing that. Now, I've been disappointed and spoken out boldly against issues and things. I feel like I have that responsibility as a watchman to sound the alarm when I see things doing great damage to people. I believe we're called as watchmen to do that, sound the alarm. I will do that. And as shepherds, as God has appointed me as a pastor, I'm going to watch out. I'm going to speak out against the things that I believe are going to hurt our people. I wouldn't be a good shepherd if I didn't do that. I wouldn't be a good watchman and if I didn't do it. We have to do that. But also feel like when some of these things, the devil's trying to interject things that would bring even more division than there is. There's enough division without adding to it. As one conservative said, the charge of racism is a liberal's answer when they're losing an argument. They start making the charge racism. I think that's true. Now, one thing I would challenge you, go back and find any conservative who's made the charge of racism. I don't know of one. There may be some that I don't know about. I've never heard conservative make that charge against anyone else. And I've only seen liberals do it when they're really losing an argument. They start throwing out the racist thing, and it's demeaning to those who throw it out. It's starting to look silly. It's not working anymore. There was a time when it would work and cause people to back up. Now there's a reaction to it, and it releases racism. It doesn't help the problem, it complicates it. I thought that was a very irresponsible statement for a former president to have made. Now, he's not our president anymore. We don't have to acknowledge him as a president, but I still believe we treat everyone with dignity and respect. But I don't know what in the world he could have been thinking to do such a thing. I don't know what anybody does. It was not a racist remark. I so appreciate President Obama quickly forgiving that congressman. The congressman admitted it right away. And Obama had the grace on his life to forgive him and say, okay, you shouldn't have done it, but I accept your apology, move on. He never made a charge of racism. And I tell you, that helps more than the other. So let's don't just start throwing accusations around and demonizing one another. Let's stick to the truth as they're made manifest.